Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's session. My name is Anuja, and I welcome you to a very important and insightful session for the future aspirants of CLAT 2024. Because today, as you can see, we will be discussing the learnings for you guys from CLAT 2023 paper, which is the recent paper. So it's done, it's finally over. CLAT 2023 is over. In fact, ALET 2023 is also over, and today, what I have done is that I have cherry picked, selected those questions which I found really interesting from both these papers, ALET and CLAT, and the questions for which I feel your preparation should be slightly different. Your perspective should be slightly different, and that is why I want to show all of those questions to you today. And please take note of every single question type so that when you prepare for your exam, which is CLAT 2024, you can expect to have no surprises. Okay, so let's start with the first question that I have chosen for you. Now, let's just read this question. It says, select the appropriate option to complete the sentence. This text is most likely to be published as. What are our options? News item. So they are asking us if we will be publishing this as a news item or a personal narrative, a story that I am telling about myself, a speech draft, okay, or a magazine article. Now, see, if I want to answer this question, I should definitely be well read. I should have an idea of the difference between the language of a magazine article and a news item and a personal narrative and a speech draft. I should be able to differentiate between these four. So that is why this is a tip for you. Whenever you're reading anything, just try to think about the characteristics. Try to ask yourself, how is this language different from the language in a magazine? And for that, of course, you have to keep your sources diverse and varied so that you can compare. If someone has never heard a speech in his life, if someone has never read a personal narrative where one person is telling his story, then how will you be able to solve such a question, right? So thinking about the source of the text is a very important tip for you guys. Let's look at the second question here. What is the contextual clue that best helps us understand the meaning of gyre? So they could have straight away asked the meaning of gyre, but no, they are not doing that. They are asking you the contextual clue with the help of which you are getting the meaning of gyre. Such a wonderful question, which is testing how you guys think. So if you think clearly and you don't even know the meaning, you will spot that sentence, you will read the context, and then you will say, okay, yeah, because of this particular part, I could guess my answer. So this is why here is a tip for you. Whenever you're reading, you should think, you should not right away check the meaning of that particular word. First, you should try to guess. You should have a look at that sentence, try to guess its part of speech, its intensity, take note of whatever details you have there, and then guess the meaning. You may be right, you may be wrong, but at least you can handle such questions because now you know about the contextual clues. Okay, let us have a look at the next question. What is the writer's most likely intent of using question headings in this text? So this was a text, it was in the recent ALET paper. Usually when headings are given, they are not question marks, but in this text, all the headings were in the format of a question mark. And we usually do not think like a writer, as I've been saying, we think like a reader. So we don't say, okay, why are these headings in the question format? But this is exactly the question. So it seems that they don't just want you to read the text, they also want you to appreciate how it is written. And that is why they are asking the intent of using question headings. So think about these stylistic elements going ahead. Next question. What does the author convey via the use of exclamation marks in the first paragraph? Now, punctuation marks. The students, I have always felt that punctuation marks are an author's way of communicating with you, and it's the non-verbal way. By not using words, they are using marks. So we must get ourselves familiar with different punctuation marks, their usages, because here is a question. What is the author trying to convey by using exclamation mark? You're supposed to know that, right? So please find out about all the punctuation marks. Let us have a session on that. We can do that, because exclamation marks is definitely different from a question mark and all other marks. So here is a tip. Please pay attention to punctuation marks. Next question. Which aspect of the text indicates that the writer is engaging with the reader? Now, again, a style question. The writer is writing in a method that he's engaging with you guys. But which element shows that? So, is it his paragraphs, or the use of punctuations, or the conclusion, the way he has concluded, or the headlines given? That you will have to decide. Okay, let's have a look at question number 6. The confusing relationships in the text can be best applied to. This is my favorite, because look at this option here: stand up show, a stand up comedy. They know that we are aware of stand up comedy. Now they are saying, what can we apply it to? If you have understood the text, tell us what is the use of this text. Will it be good for a TED talk? So one must know the difference in the format between a TED talk and a stand up show. How is a debate? I'm sure that you are already aware of, because in schools you had debates. And awareness rally. So very good thinking oriented question. They are not just asking question where you can regurgitate the knowledge, the words that you have crammed your head with. No, they want you to think on your feet, on the spot, apply the information. Okay. Moving on to the next question. Select the option that is true for both 1 and 2. I just chose this because the options are framed in a different way. So it's not just about one statement, both statements, 1 and 2. And you have to keep both of them in mind and then tell, okay, which one is true, which one is false, which one can be inferred. So interesting options. They are working with options also there. So please pay attention. Okay. Now here, this is again from ALET, phrasal verbs. They have been asking phrasal verbs for a very long time, and this time they are asking you, this is a phrasal verb. Which option doesn't have a phrasal verb? So this is a basic concept question. If one knows the format of phrasal verb, which means it has a verb and it has an adverb or a preposition with it, then you should be able to identify very quickly. So those small nuances that are discussed in classes here and there, they are useful too. Moving on to the next question. Title. You have to choose a title for the text. Okay, what's new in that? Look at the options, the kind of options. Every option is kind of idiomatic in itself. So one needs to know the meaning of all rights reserved. What does that mean? Where is that used? What is the fine print about? What is the letter of the law? What is burden of proof? You're supposed to know these things so that you can choose which one can count as a good title. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Select the option that includes information that is an appropriate fit into the passage. So they have given you four options and they are asking which can be an appropriate fit into the passage. That means they are expecting you to know the theme, and they are not telling where this will fit, after para 1 or after para 3. They are just telling, okay, does it go with the passage? Is it in sync with the passage? So that then you tell if it's an appropriate fit or an inappropriate fit. So very interesting and innovative way of asking about the theme or the main idea. Here is question number 11. Select the option that can be used both as a noun as well as a verb. So when your teacher tells you that you need to know the part of speech and you wonder why, this is the answer. Because here is a question where they are expecting you to identify if this can work as a noun and verb both. So a test of your knowledge, definitely. Moving on to Question number 12. And now, these were, of course, not given in this order. I have cherry picked and given them an order of my own. Select the option that correctly sorts facts and opinions. So, these kind of questions used to feature earlier as well. We used to call them FIJ, fact, inference, judgment. Now, it has taken a re entry. They are asking you if this is a fact, it's an assertion of fact, or if it's an opinion, it's an assertion of judgment. What is it? You are supposed to identify. That means you need to know the definitions of a fact and opinion, right? So, a quick tip, whenever the author is saying anything from his side, appreciating, criticizing, suggesting, it is definitely a judgment. Okay, keep that in mind. Have a look at the next one. Again, if you have to give a title, you have to address the text appropriately. Look at the idioms that are given as options. So I really like this style where they are killing two birds with one stone, asking one question, but checking two things. What two things? One is theme identification. Can you give a proper title? And then your knowledge of idioms. If you know all the four idioms, then only you will be able to tell the meaning, and then you will be able to choose, okay, can I make this the title or can I make that the title? Okay, here is now CLAT 2023 because all the references so far were from ALET 2023. So let us see what we have here. Now this one, they said, where would this fit? Would it be a non-fiction essay? Now I think here is a quick check for all the CLAT 2024 aspirants. Ask yourselves, are you reading non-fiction essays? Because if you're not, you'll not be aware of the vocabulary that they use, the format that they follow, and then you will not be able to tell if this is a non-fiction essay or not. Okay, are you reading novels or stories, at least short stories? Because they expected that. Academic paper, I don't know where you will get to read because you're not researchers, but poetry you have definitely read in schools. So again, we have to be more careful about the source of the passage. Which of the following applies to if? So, if you remember this passage from the recent CLAT paper, there was a character if whose style of talking was very interesting. And again, how is he talking? How? Contradictions, synonyms, proverbs, metaphors. That was something you had to decide. Okay, so again and again, the same thing is coming to the surface that if you're reading something, understanding it, of course, is one thing, but how is it written? Thinking like a writer, that's a very important part too. And noticing the small things, the punctuation marks, the headlines, why are they written like that? Those sort of things have been pointed out and asked. All of the following pairs of words are synonyms except. So, a simple, very simple vocabulary question. See, investing in vocabulary will definitely pay you off because I've seen a lot of questions in both these papers which are simply based on vocabulary. Have a look at the next one. Which of the following suggests that the illegal supply is not a recent phenomenon? Now, whether or not you realize it, this is again a vocabulary question because entrenched means something which is happening for a very long time, and the opposite of that is recent. So, if you have to choose an option that will show that this is not recent, again, what will you choose? It's antonym. So, vocabulary, but not just the meaning, it's application, part of speech, intensity, context, those kind of things. Uh, this I have included just to show you that the general curiosity helps. If we see BCE and I wonder, okay, what is that? Let me just find out the full form. You may get +1 in CLAT, right? So this was a question. And I think that's it for today. So students, if I have to summarize the entire learning from the English section for you, I would say read, read, and read a lot because it was entirely reading comprehension. Build your vocabulary, that is the foundation on which everything will be built. So please invest daily. I repeat, daily in vocabulary building and, of course, revising that. Don't read like a zombie. Think actively and read. Okay, because all the questions are demanding you to think on the spot, are demanding you to observe and notice. Okay. As far as grammar is concerned, in ALET, in CLAT, I really didn't find much use of it. Yes, phrasal verbs, small this, that, punctuation marks, but that's about it. So your major focus should be solving questions, reading a lot, noticing. So maybe the quantity is not that much important. The quality is very important. If even if you're reading for an hour, you should be able to appreciate and find out correct answers. Okay, so that's all from my side today. I hope it helped you immensely. If there is anything else that you want to talk about, please mention in the comments below, and we are sure to make a video about that. Thank you so much for your patience. See you around.